What are these weird little creatures and what are they doing in this movie? In this video, I'm gonna walk you through their purpose in the film and we'll get to create this little design together with watercolors. By the way, I wanted to give full credit to the original creator of this idea, Daily Dark. I will link their profile below if you want to check them out. Getting back into the subject of today's art. They are little coal creatures from a Studio Ghibli movie called Spirited Away. Spirited Away is one of the first ever animations I've seen that kind of changed my whole trajectory when it comes to my relationship with anime. I fell in love with the way that the stories are told instantly and never looked back since, really. Now I'm such a big anime nerd. I grew up with it and I still keep up with the popular ones. I don't know, have you been watching anime lately? Drop it in the comments if you are. For those who are not familiar with the film, Spirited Away, without spoilers, is basically where a family moves to the suburbs and a 10-year-old girl wanders into the woods where she finds a world ruled by gods, witches, and spirits, and where humans are changed into beasts. Thinking back, I was also exactly 10 years old when I watched this movie, and it was still back when I was in China, so I watched the film first in Chinese. To be honest, it was kind of scary as a kid because the plot is where the parents get turned into pigs and the little girl have to try to turn them back into humans before the time runs out. So, with both a mix of being scared but also wondered by this whole world that the author has built, this movie has really made a big impact in my life. What I really like about the movie is the world building that the author Miyazaki was able to create. In a lot of Miyazaki films, there seems to be minutes of just nothingness, where the characters might be doing something as simple as walking around or enjoying a meal with other people. I looked into why that was, and the author explained that this is a concept in Japanese called ma. Ma translates into emptiness, and Miyazaki have incorporated that into his films intentionally. In an interview, Miyazaki mentions that if you have just nonstop action with no breathing space at all, it's just busyness. But if you take a moment, then the tension building in the film can grow into a wider dimension. After learning this concept of ma, aka emptiness, I started noticing it everywhere. The characters that I'm drawing now relates to this because they are a part of these filler scenes where the main character is walking through the setting, which is a bathhouse. And these little cold creatures are what fuels the warmness of the baths. So don't underestimate these little cold creatures. They're actually employees of the bathhouse. Here I'm just adding a scene from Spirited Away to show you guys where the reference is coming from with these rock candy looking things. Another interesting fact about Spirited Away is that it was created without a script. The author Miyazaki mentions in interviews that I don't have the story finished and ready when we start working on a film. And then he goes on to say that it's not me who makes the film makes itself, and I have no choice but to follow. I find it really fascinating how Miyazaki was able to create these fantastical creatures alongside human like characters and have them all interact in a very realistic way. For anybody that has dabbled in fictional writing, it's not very easy for us to imagine ourselves in somebody else's shoes. For Miyazaki, a lot of the inspiration he had in creating the main character, who is a 10-year-old girl, is from his friend who has a daughter where they visit him every summer. Actually, the origin of Spirited Away is where Miyazaki got inspired to create a new kind of story for preteens to watch. in his time, a lot of the manga or stories that these girls were reading were about cheap romance, in his words, of course. At the time when Spirited Away was released, the more popular genres for girls to watch were things like Hello Kitty. So Miyazaki's film really started to challenge what was acceptable, and he was able to communicate a lot of things like emotions and struggles that were mostly underrepresented for young Japanese girls. Overall, you can probably see why I really like Spirited Away. It has brought so much dynamic in the cinema space through the introduction of Ma, and also being able to tell a story that's whimsical where it quote unquote creates itself, while also challenging the social norms at the time and really giving young Japanese girls or even just audiences globally something different to watch. That's it for today's video. But I have another one coming soon on the same theme where I'll be drawing these duckies from Spirited Away as well. If you want to see them, don't forget to subscribe, otherwise you might miss out on my videos. Thanks so much for watching. On the left is something I think you enjoy. On the right is a video that the YouTube algorithm thinks that you will like. Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate you. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.